Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so taking a different approach today. I gotta pay the rent. I also got a few things I want to purchase from Target, and it's a very windy day. And so I'm just gonna go down to the local Target right now, grab everything I need from there, come back here, grab the money, and then just call it a day, because I don't really want to come back out, go back in, go back out. So that's kind of what it is. Normally I would just walk across the street and get the money and then come back in the house, do the Laker video, and then eat breakfast. I left breakfast on the table and I said, man, while I'm out, I just want to do all of this now. I don't want to think about any of this stuff that needs to be done. And that food ain't gonna be eaten anytime soon anyway, because that Laker video like 45 minutes. So this is gonna sit there. This is gonna sit there. I only gotta buy a few things from Target. That's about an hour run. I just ran into the guy I gotta pay. I told him I was gonna get the money and come back, so that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna get what I need first. Didn't even bring my backpack because I honestly didn't plan on this when I walked out the house. I just made up my mind right now to do that. But another reason why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to talk about what's going on in the world, and just kind of run my mouth a little bit on the way there. I probably won't make the video too long because I ain't got that kind of time. But yeah, man, what's going on with this war, man? Prayers out, man. From what I understand, they've lost already over 600 soldiers. U.S. soldiers have died in this war in just 3-4 days, man. And I'm sad for all of the people who lost their lives in all these situations, but to be honest with you, I'm more sad about the kids that lost their lives in the bombing. More sad about the kids that lost their lives in Gaza. More sad about the kids that lost their lives. That man's grandchild, Kamini's granddaughter, that lost her life. Like, soldiers sign up for this. And a lot of them don't really behold, and I think the word behold is fitting because it speaks to surveying the world properly. I don't think a lot of them really behold the world and their lives well enough to understand what they're risking when they say, I'm willing to die. It's a lot more that could be possible in your life than what you think, and giving that up for any reason serves you nothing, really. But if you're gonna die for something, you want to at least be aware of what you're dying for is good, worthy. And in this case, they're dying so that Israel can seize land in the Middle East to continue practicing apartheid. And the things that I've been listening to and the things that I've been learning over the last 2 days without having the chance to speak, just because I've been kind of doing other things, staying in the house, doing art and stuff like that, it's been really helpful, man. The perspectives that I've gained, there's been so much information, meaningful information that I've been receiving. All it's really actually doing is reaffirming my speculation. I think right now that the Lord has basically put a truth in my heart that I've been speaking for 3 years, speculating on things around what's been going on. And I don't think there's much of what I've learned that I didn't already speculate. I'm also glad I haven't made a video in a couple of days, because I had a thought in my mind that I was going to spew on this camera that made a lot of sense to me, that ultimately I've had since debunked. That speculation would not have been accurate. But I will share with you what that thought was. The thought that I had, that I've since found to not be the case, is that I question whether or not Israel actually have nuclear weapons. Now, from what I understand, it has since been said on multiple things. It's just funny how that works. With that thought coming into my head, I actually prayed about it. I'm like, Lord, I don't want to say that to people because it's irresponsible to say something like that without actually having information. I didn't look it up. Suddenly that information came to me. No, it's understood that this is not something that you can build without other people in the world knowing it, because you need to grab other things from other people in order to make those bombs. So it's understood that Israel's been grabbing those things. How we doing? And because they've been grabbing those things, it is universally understood that Israel does have massive weapons of destruction and specifically nuclear bombs. The alignment of my thinking in regards to wondering if they had nuclear bombs is because I also wondered, would they need us if they had them? And another thought was, would they not have already used them against their enemies? Since they're so comfortable with destroying innocent lives, so comfortable with killing children indiscriminately, bombing civilians, that they have nuclear weapons was a question to me, because I felt like they've been proven to be so willing to use them already, and have gone through a great deal of trouble that I think wouldn't necessarily have been necessary with them having the presence of nuclear weapons. But I guess there's much more nuance to it. I've since learned that they do have nuclear weapons, and that's universally understood. But my thing is, okay, so that we know that, and we're watching how they're operating, should we not expect that they're about to drop a nuclear weapon any moment now on innocent people, maybe even a major city? While we're so worried about people in the Middle East having nuclear weapons, the people that we know who have proven themselves to be absolute and utter terrorists, we are certain have nuclear weapons. And I speculated earlier on in this genocide, I was saying, I think that it makes all the sense that America is trying to align with them, because you're probably afraid they're going to do that very thing if you don't. A lot of what it is that their methods have been is about blackmail and coercing people into spaces using leverage that they have. So I thought that this was probably why America's government is in lockstep with Israel, despite all the evil they're doing, because they probably worry that Israel's going to drop nuclear weapons on us. And that's something that, in my heart, I think is still wrong, because we're watching them show proof that they're willing to drop those bombs any damn way. They're willing to throw us under the bus. They're willing to hurt their own people. They're willing to do any damn thing. They'll cut off their own arm or break a Marine's arm. That's a whole nother story, to push their narrative. It was a Marine who, and again, I'm just ignorant. I don't know the setting, but it was some type of situation where a Marine interrupted what looked like some type of prestigious government press conference of some sort, in all full uniform, to protest what took place. And he was essentially saying, we don't want to die for Israel, protesting the war. And as they were trying to escort him out, he wrapped his arm in between two doors, in between basically door entrances. It's hard to express or describe it, but essentially 4 men were trying to pull him away, physically escort him out of there, so that he couldn't further protest and disrupt their meeting. And you could see his arm caught in between the door. And one of the senators, I don't know where this man was from, I think some type of government official, he might have been a congressman or a senator or something, he joins in on the removal of this man. And it was his pressure that ultimately made it so that the man's arm broke. Like, you could see it. They zoomed in on it because they're showing him. He's sitting there saying, what he has to say as he's holding on for dear life, as these people are trying to pull him out. His arm is caught in the door and it snaps. All of us saw it. This is what we get for protesting the evil that's being done in this world by the people who are proving themselves to be that. A Marine, a decorated Marine, standing up for his country like he swore his oath to, gets his arm broken by somebody that we voted in office, because he's standing up for what's right. And this is just more of what we've already seen in regards to genocide, when they were doing the same to protesters all over the world. You see it in Germany. You see it in all different types of countries, where anybody that protests the damn genocide gets treated like a terrorist, gets treated like an unruly disruptor, gets brutalized. You saw it at UCLA and different campuses. standing up for what's right get you beat up. But you still got to do it because something can't go unchecked. And so the man, was such a strong Marine. His arm broke. You know how Marines are. He didn't even flinch. Arm snapped. He didn't even scream. He was continue saying what he had to say. It was just one of the most valiant expressions that I was able to see, man. And much honor to that guy. Stand up for what's right, and anybody else who's trying to do the same. The presence of just evil having control over everything. And I just think at this point, I'm hearing about what Israel is trying to do in regards to protecting against the narrative of them losing the war, despite them being bombarded with missiles left and right. They've made it so that it's illegal for their own citizens to show the damage. Because, of course, what's Israel and Zionism without some deception or some lie, right? With that information already out, then I see an IDF soldier get on television in front of destroyed buildings in that country, essentially saying that Iran had bombed a house full of elderly people or an apartment full of elderly people. She didn't believe there was any casualties, but ultimately this is what Iran had done. And I'm just sitting here saying, so on one hand, it's illegal for anybody to show damage, but then on the other hand, it's fine for her to show this particular building. 2 and 2 tells me they blew up that damn building themselves to control the narrative, just like they always do with such things. The false flag is a very important tool of deception for the Zionists. They always look to sacrifice their own, sacrifice innocent people, to furtherance the support for whatever they want to do, or furtherance the support for seeing them as victims. This is something that they do in multiple situations. And as we've seen their playbook in the situation with Gaza, it's so many different displays of that playbook. I know what I'm looking at when I see that. The one thing about dealing with Iran is what we've come to understand and listen to people who are credible, is that Iran will always tell you when they've done something. They'll even tell you when they're about to do something and then do it. They are people of their word. So if these people, Israel, proven liars, are going to tell me that Iran did something that Iran didn't say they did, I'm going to believe Iran, because Iran has a credibility as an honest nation. And Israel, being the habitual Zionist, devil-worshipping liars that they are, hold no credibility. So it becomes a situation where they still lose the narrative control war, the PR war, because they have ruined their credibility by allowing us to see their playbook in other situations, for which I've been describing on this channel a million times. I expect that if they have a nuclear weapon, that they will use it. It's essentially what I'm telling y'all. And they're not going to use it in the middle of nowhere. They're going to bomb something with a lot of people, man. They're going to bomb something, some neighborhood that don't deserve, some unsuspecting neighborhood, or some city, random city in a big place. And they're going to kill 1 million people with a bomb. I know it. We need to pray in regards to this specific thing, because what Israel has shown all of us who've been paying close attention to them is that they kill children for the strength spiritually they can get from that. They believe that, sacrificing children to Moloch/Baal or whatever gives them spiritual strength, and that they are pleasing their God for doing so. In that being the case, there is absolutely nothing keeping them from doing that on a much greater scale if they have the weaponry to do it. They're already showing America that they throw us under the bus 1 million times. They're already showing their allies that they'll bomb them. From what I understand, it has been said that Iran was alleged to have sent a drone to some British something in regards to Britain, which is obviously one of their allies, and they're claiming that Iran had done it. But then what it turns out is it wasn't an Iran drone that did it, but a knockoff drone, and that the drone's direction had been traced and it didn't come from Iran. Essentially what 2 and 2 is telling us that it likely came from either this country or Israel. Israel's bombing their own allies, looking to, in a half-hearted effort, frame Iranians. But as I said, the devil's going to always facilitate his own failure. And so the half-hearted attempt didn't do anything to cover their backside. They're creating chaos. Natural born chaos, y'all. That's the problem. They're turning on each other. They're turning on their allies. They're framing innocent people. They're poking at massive war capable countries. One of the most war, if not the most war capable country in the entire world, in Iran. And killed, they not only killed their Ayatollah, but also his granddaughter, and then for shits and giggles bombed an entire school full of little girls just to sacrifice them to ball. And they did it while we're all watching. And I'm telling y'all, the alignment of spiritual devilishness is so very on par with the Israeli Zionist movement. They are the devil, literally. They are him in walking form. Every bit of what I understand about the devil, they mirror and they mimic. And as I further learn, I'm listening to different people who are having discussions about this. I'm finding out that that's also starting to become confirmed. That it is understood that these people were never Jews. They're some type of gypsy type people from freaking Turkey that trace all the way back to the 1200s, who decided that they were going to stand behind Judaism and proceed to be evil in the world in defiance of the Lord's intentions to keep us aligned and away from that for which we would satisfy ourselves with. They truly believed way back then that since we all can't reach spiritual purity, and we're all going to be sinners and all look to defy the Lord, why not be spiritual purest of sinners? And they hate God because God is asking them to reach for measures that they cannot obtain, which is not what actually God is doing. He's already told us that we are sinners, but that there is salvation in the Spirit of Christ, for which died for our sins, and then from there those sins are absolved in his name so long as we follow him. And this is why they wanted, in my opinion, though I never heard anyone say this is why it was so important that they be Jews, because Jews killed Jesus and they hate Jesus because Jesus wipes away their logic for being as they are. Because if they don't have the excuse of saying that God is putting forth an intention for us to have pure spiritual, flawed nature for which they cannot obtain, then there's no reason for them to defy him in such a demonstrative way. If not for the presence of Jesus, which debunks their entire purpose for being as purely evil as they intend to be. That's why they hate Jesus Christ so much. Because Jesus Christ, in my opinion, based on what it is I'm putting two and two together, debunks their reasoning for any of the choices that they've made in committing to being pure evil in the world. That's why I'm putting two and two together. Listen to different people speak on what they're learning about these people. They were never Jews. They were never Jews. They're gypsies pretending to be Jews who are committed to devilishness. That's what they are, and it matches the behavior. When you think about the devil and all of the different things that I've learned about the devil, they match every bit of what he does. They are deliberately breaking every rule the Lord ever asked for us, and in a demonstrative and intentional fashion. Anything the Lord has ever asked of human beings, they are trying their very best to do the absolute and utter opposite, all while pretending to be him in the deception that the devil operates in. They are people of the devil. They are intentional. This is not a secret amongst them. And the rules that have to do with the devil align with them and their fate. They are always facilitating their own failure. They're always stepping on their own toes. They're always betraying somebody and turning on one another. There is nothing that they're not willing to do that is ultimately going to disgrace their name. they are of the devil, and they've been practicing this stuff for thousands and thousands of years. I don't know that everybody in their faction understands this. But those who need to understand this, who are pushing their agenda, are very much aware of what it is that I just described. And they have amassed a great deal of power because they're willing to do all the different things that the rest of the world would never do. That's why they have all that they have, because they were crossing lines, morally crossing lines, and none of us ever would, including sacrificing as many of our own as possible to obtain whatever goals. Pinning people against one another so that they would fight so you could pick up the plunder. This is what they've been doing for thousands of years. And they never had a land because they were always getting caught doing this. Why? Because the cover-ups were always half-hearted. Why? Because they align with the fate of the devil, which is going to facilitate their own failure. It is lining up. It's adding up. All of it's adding up, man. Just like I've been speculating, just like I've been talking out of the spirit that the Lord placed in me, now all of this stuff is starting to be confirmed that what I was saying was exactly what it was. To a damn T. And so I'm telling everybody, as I often do, have a relationship with God, man. And be very wary of anybody that tells you that you need to align with Israel in order for you to have a relationship with him. Those people are either being deceived and believing stuff that they should not believe, or they're intentional on pushing forth this energy that has just been described. Whatever the case may be, they need to be pushed out of your lives. That star is not a star of David. It is a representation of demonic energy. That's not speculation anymore. It's confirmed at this point. They believe in Baal, fam. That is what it is. They believe in Baal, and that is cosplay of the devil, the same old devil. They believe in the devil. And if you're one of those people and you don't know this, I'm telling you, I've learned this. This is not something I'm speculating about anymore. I was speculating before. No, not anymore. It's confirmed now. All that evil stuff y'all talking about in the Talmud, hurting children, that's devilishness. It's obviously devilishness, but it is intentional devilishness. It's not to be mistaken as something of God. It's not of God. Who they trying to pin against one another, trying to keep the Christians and the Muslims at war with one another, that's devilish intention. The Lord doesn't have any intentions of that. He never did. All these different things that they've been doing, the Epstein stuff, all of it, rigging governments to do horrible things, turning against their own people, hurting their own people, hurting other people, targeting children, all of it. Spiritual intention. They intend to create chaos. They intend to bring Armageddon to the world. And the energy it should have shown us this. And I'm telling y'all, it is American callousness and racism that has allowed for people to trust them because they align with the narrative that it should be fine for you to be that way. That is why a lot of what it is that they've been doing has been working in this country, because this country has always had its own sin. And that sin has been a racist one. Othering of people of color. And it was a lot of people who you began to trust as Americans because they were pushing that line. You listen to people who were pushing a racist agenda who intended to align with these people. Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, they all were comfortable with othering people of color. And you didn't see it as nothing wrong, and that is where you went wrong. Telling y'all the truth, because you don't want to hear it. It was the spirit of racism that allowed for these people to weasel into your country, that you agreed with that nonsense. You didn't see it as anything wrong. You didn't really understand. It didn't bump your spirit like it was supposed to. You would have known not to let them people in your damn country. You would have known not to let them people be trustworthy. You would have known not to never, ever listen to anything they had to say if you would have saw that the way that you were supposed to see it, America. I'm telling y'all, there's still a lot of people who are aligned with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a racist. He was a smart man in a lot of ways, and he has a black woman coming to his aid when in his passing. I think it's a godly irony that Candace Owens is going the hardest for Charlie Kirk. But make no mistake about it, Charlie Kirk pushed a racist agenda. I've learned a lot of good things about Charlie Kirk, and near the end of his life, he was starting to get things together. But he was still pushing a racist ideology all the way to the last moment of his life. He was othering black people, othering people of color, othering Hispanic people. He did that consistently, unapologetically, in a rude way. And that a lot of our country aligned with that racist agenda is why they don't get it about him. I don't think he created this. I think he was just buying certain things, and he needed to unlearn things just like the rest of the people in this country do. Need to unlearn a lot. The same thing I say. Donald Trump, he aligned with a racist agenda. He gave a voice to those who othered black people as a culture of themselves. This is why you let him in the room. This is why you trusted him, because you didn't let that nugget be something that's cued to you that he shouldn't have been trusted. He's such a great guy. He says so many things that I agree with. You got things in your heart that align with the devil if you hate people that look like me for the color of our skin. That you don't see that as a problem is going to keep you from understanding that you can't trust people who are pushing it. This is why. This is why all this is happening. Because there was a lack of accountability in the people first. Then a disregard for certain things that should have always been seen as the worst things for our country. And we didn't recognize that at all. We didn't recognize it. It's our own unchecked devilish intentions that ultimately let the devil in the room. We need to unlearn certain things. American propaganda has coerced a lot of us into evil intentions, and we're not seeing red flags. We're not seeing them, y'all. Black people and people of color, a good portion of us who love ourselves and love our people have been telling you Donald Trump wasn't to be trusted. We told you he wasn't to be trusted. Why? Because he gave the finger to us and aligned with your racist intention to pander to you so that you would do this. Vote him in, and now he got the people who control him moving in whatever way they do. And it ain't no different with Obama. It's the same thing. They used my love for my blackness and my, just desire to see a black president. They put another one of their guys in. He killed a bunch of people in the Middle East too. He did a bunch of evil stuff in the Middle East too. The guy he ran with, that person, when he got in office, sent more money to Israel than anybody else. And we still do it. I'm listening to people who are paying attention to what's going on with ICE, paying attention to what's going on in Iran, still saying that we should have voted for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was aligned with Israel. She proved that to me when I reached out to her, and she ignored me, and her people ignored me when I was screaming out about what was going on in Gaza. Watching them gaslight us. We talking about we seeing children die, and then come Halloween, they sitting up on their Instagram with all types of kids around the table. It's like, yo, we're commenting under the comments. We're watching these same type of children, these same generation of children that you're standing around celebrating die, and you're sending the money over there to kill them. Ignored. Completely ignored. That told me all I needed to know about Kamala Harris. She and Joe Biden were not only complicit to genocide, they were helping fund it. And were gaslighting us in the process. Don't tell me about no damn Kamala Harris. Don't tell me about no Obama. Those people are the same. It's the system itself, which the Epstein files are showing us, that's compromised. It ain't the figureheads at the top. They put people in there they can control. It's them. It's they who run this country. It's they that run many countries. But it's the people that ultimately outnumber them. And we need to remember that while it's still the case. Because believe me, if they use these weapons, it won't be. If they use these nuclear weapons that they have, it won't be. And I think that's the plan. And so I'm telling people, man, we have to unlearn some nonsense. Anything they told you about different people, if they said it, you got to unlearn it. At this point, that part is clear to me. If the propaganda machine groomed you to believe something about someone, question it. Question it. It don't mean that they were all the way lying. It just means there's a good chance they were lying. Very good chance. Just like they were lying about the Black Panthers. They're likely lying about Kim Jong-un. They're likely lying. Seriously. At this point, we should be unlearning a lot of things, or at least questioning a lot of things, doing homework where we otherwise trusted. You must. At this point, you have to. Because what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people who've learned to not trust these folks, who still haven't updated certain opinions aligned with what it is that they taught you. You gotta learn that. You gotta update that. You've since learned these people ain't trustworthy, so that was attached to your trust for them. They are liars. Let's catch up to this. And we've had this conversation on this channel as well. Updating. New opinions to fit the information we've since learned. There's a lot of propaganda out there, man, and we are heavily propagandized. Heavily. And the more I learn, the more I realize I am not exempt from that in any way. At all. At all. I wasted a lot of time in that mindset, and I'm still discovering areas of that mindset that need to be unlearned. But at this point, it is my responsibility as a person who's woken up to point out what it is I see and be a friend to the truth, man. One of the things that we have to understand is that this entity is always at war with the truth. No matter what they're being faced with, they always choose deception, even when it's a poor choice. Even when it doesn't necessarily align with what is best, they're going to always turn to lie or deceit or covering something up or hiding behind a mask or saying somebody else is doing something they're doing. I know you are, but what am I? Psychology. They're going to always do this. I don't know why they haven't figured out when it's best to do this and when it's not. Maybe I don't know, but they always go to create some chaos, and they'll live with the results of the failure because they know it creates some confusion. They don't care that they'll lose the war. They don't care that they'll offer up their own or yours or mine. They don't care that they lose. It's a byproduct of the confusion that they're trying. It's collateral damage for the bigger picture. They know we're going to lose a lot of people to Iran. They know they could destroy our entire country if they make the wrong moves using our military to do so. They know they can cripple us financially by doing this. They are intentional on doing so. It's intentional. They want the results of such things to come to pass. And so that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. This is not a time to play. This is not a time to play. We've already lost 600 people plus to this war in 3 days, man. Hezbollah and Iran and these people, they're not playing around. They are more than capable of this. They've had years to think about this. They know who they're going up against. They know how to cripple them. They have nuclear weapons. They have not used them on innocent people. I don't know how many more times we're going to bomb their kids before they start losing their desire to keep us innocent people safe. I don't know. How many kids would it take for you to use a nuclear bomb that you have on innocent? How many kids you going to lose before you say, man, F them people? They voted this in, blow them up. We're, I believe, at the mercy of two things. The intention of the evil that controls us and the intention of the people that the evil is provoking to anger. That is exactly what, and the mercy of God, obviously, which I believe in. But as it pertains to the earth, yeah, man, you got bad guys controlling things. They got nuclear weapons. You got hurt hearts who've been provoked, who also have nuclear weapons. It's just a matter of time. So I'm telling people, get right with God, because a lot of us gonna die. I'm just gonna be honest with you. A lot of us gonna die at the hands of these nuclear weapons, and if not us, in the next generation. These things exist. They exist. And we would be foolish to think that we're not going to lose many people over that stupid stuff. We would be foolish to think that we're going to be able to just never see them things explode. These people are trying to make it so that we see nuclear warfare. That's what they're trying to bring about. That's what the Zionists are trying to bring about. It's nuclear Armageddon, literally. That's the end game. Blow it all up. And so I'm telling y'all, man, at this point, it's not about anything other than getting right with God and raising your voice and awareness, educating yourself to the best of your ability, unlearning as much as you can, and having a close relationship with God. I cannot stress this enough. That's all it's about. That's really all it's about, man, because you're going to lose a lot of people. This ain't no joke. I ain't never been more serious or more certain than anything in my life. control of a nuclear warheads, bro. Bombing children's schools, y'all. For literally no reason. Just to kick off a war. Just to give the finger to who it is that they are trying to provoke. That's the only reason why they did that. And you trying to tell me that we safe with them controlling things? I know you don't think that. Not if you're paying attention to what I'm paying attention to. Not if you're paying attention to me. Absolutely not. And then you got these evangelical Christians who are going around essentially in our military, telling our military kids that they are intentional on bringing back Jesus Christ through Armageddon. Over 100, from what I understand, over 100 cases were filed with this claim in it, essentially saying that, yo, we're being told that we're supposed to be bringing about the Armageddon in order to bring Jesus Christ back. I done told y'all. I read in the Bible very recently and discovered this myself. I'm sure a lot of you Bible historians knew this before I did. Even Jesus Christ is not to know when he's to return. The elect does not know when he's going to return. Only the Father knows when he's going to return. You can't initiate that by doing anything. But you'd have to be brain dead, stupid, and retarded to think, excuse me with the R word, to think that doing evil is going to prompt him to return. No. Nobody who actually reads the Bible, or who actually knows Christ, is going to actually think that makes any sense at all, fam. And they don't. And these are the people who are trying to drive our military forward on some unholy military mission. It's essentially meant to provoke the most capable war power in the world to hurt innocent people. That's all it's about. So they can sacrifice all of us the ball, man, and bring about the end of the world. I believe that's what they're trying to do. Greater Israel Project, that's going to fail. And they know it. And they're doing things that initiate its failure on purpose. I don't think they're going to accomplish that. Greater Israel Project. I don't even think that's the end game. I think that's what they tell one another. And so this is what I'm telling all of y'all, man. Just get close to God, man. Get your spirit right. Step away from stuff that you know you need to be stepping away from. Now's the time to get close to God and start listening to that inner voice inside. It's time, bro. Don't listen to the preacher. I'm sorry. I know a lot of y'all have churches, this and that. If your preacher ain't talking about what happened in that genocide 3 years ago, I don't trust that preacher. Any preacher that failed to speak out on the thousands of kids being slaughtered on camera while a good portion of us were watching it, if that preacher wasn't talking about that, bro, I'm getting up out of there. Compromise. Spiritually compromised, bro. There's no way we sit up there and watch a genocide, you go to church and that man ain't speaking on that, or that woman ain't speaking on that. I don't want to hear it. And compromise. Spiritually compromise. With all of what it is that I saw, there's no way I'd have a church I wasn't talking about that every week. Mention it every week, having us praying for them people every week. The key to it all is that we saw it. We saw it. That's the point. I'm telling y'all pro-Israel people, man, be clear on what you're doing. That's all I'm saying to y'all. Because y'all definitely going to have to see whatever the Lord is going to intend to do to all the people that he doesn't appreciate. You're going to see that. You pro-Israel individuals, trust me when I tell you. You might as well just commit yourself to the devil. You might as well just do your thing with ball. Because believe me, if you think you're connecting with God doing this, boy, oh boy, are you going to find out. You're going to find out. This ain't that. And I told people, man, I told friends of mine, before I even understood all of what it is I understand in regards to Israel, like I said, I didn't lose a friend because we agreed to stop talking about it, but she's extremely pro-Israel, and it's because she's in the dark about where they stand biblically and all that. I have since learned so much that I can share with her, but I do not want to bring that conversation back up with her. I don't. If she watches my channel, she know how I feel. She thinks I'm an anti-Semite. That is just that is just the most uninformed position to take at this point. Honestly. Anybody still telling you that really has a lot to learn. They got a lot to learn. And it would be wise for them to learn fast, man, because the results of their mistakenness is going to meet their doorstep sooner enough. And so that's pretty much what I got to say, man. This ain't nothing new, man. It's just understanding that a lot of what it is we've been talking about is being reaffirmed. A lot of what it is we've been thinking about is actually the case. The Lord really did put the truth in my heart, man. He really did. He gave me an understanding of what the truth was before it even happened. He put me in position to be able every day to watch as much of that genocide as I did. I didn't have a normal lifestyle. I wasn't working. I was home. I had my phone in my hand. I was watching the slaughtering of these people every day in ways that most Americans were too busy to do. I had no family, no kids, nothing. I was in a room going through the most difficult time of my life when this thing started. I watched it all. And God made sure of it. So I can see the red flags that a lot of y'all can't see. I've already been proving that our media ain't shit. And I told you 3 years ago that our media wasn't shit. I told y'all this was going to happen, that people were going to slowly but surely wake up to find out that our media is compromised. We are where I told you we would be. All of it. All of it. I knew already. It was in my heart. The truth was in my heart because God is real. That's the point. Now the information is coming out to confirm all of what it is I've been saying. So this is what I'm telling all of y'all now that I'm just speculating on. And now I have even more reason to trust myself in regards to what I believe the Lord is telling me to say. These people are going to let off nuclear weapons on cities filled with civilians. We're going to lose more people we've ever lost in our lives, and it's going to be more devastation we've ever seen. I'm not trying to push fear. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. That's all I'm saying. And I don't know when it's coming, but I expect it. And you should too. And I don't know if you can run from it, because you don't know where they're going to hit. Maybe somewhere in America, maybe somewhere in Europe, maybe somewhere. You don't know where they're going to throw that. But you best believe that they are evil enough to do it. And that's the point. And one thing they've shown me, the last thing I want to say before I sign out, is one thing they've shown me is every time they take an ass whooping, they hurt innocent people in response to it. From what I understand, and I believe it was Lebanon, but if I'm wrong, forgive me, but they are trying to they've dropped leaflets on Lebanon just like they did in Gaza this morning and told a bunch of people in Lebanon to move. We know what that looks like. We know what that means. If they follow the imprint of what they did in Gaza, they're going to bomb those people where they're going. They're going to bomb their caravan. They're going to bomb the houses they left behind. They're going to bomb everything around them. Then when they get where they're going, the tents, they're going to bomb them tents too. If they intend to do what they did in Gaza, we already know the playbook. And every time they take an ass whooping, every time something goes wrong, every time there's something happens they don't like, they take it out on someone innocent. Every time. Every time. Anytime they're taking a butt whooping from somebody who's armed and equipped to hurt them, they immediately turn to somebody that cannot hurt them and they hurt them. This is what Israel does, bro. Bdf 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.